Everyone knows writing a song is challenging. In this video, I'm going to show you how I use the circle of fifths to write a song. For the purposes of this video, I've put together this document that shows the circle of the fifths to the right here, and today we're going to be using the C major scale. The notes of a C major scale are indicated here. This is a complete octave. The scale contains 0 sharps or flats. I'll be using a capital purple M for a major chord and a small orange M for a minor chord. Next, we're going to dive into a little bit of music theory. As we noted before, this is the C major scale and has 0 sharps or flats. You can see that we've associated a number for each note in the scale from 1 to 8. In music theory, you can associate a different kind of chord type to each number associated in the scale. So for example, the first note in the scale will be a major chord, the second note in the scale will be a minor chord, the third note in the scale would be a minor chord, the fourth note in the scale would be a major chord, the fifth note in the scale would be a major chord, the sixth note a minor, the seventh note would be a minor diminished chord, which is rarely used in practice, and the eighth would be your octave, another major. So in the scale of C, these would be the chords associated with that scale. Now, let's step back and take a look at the circle of fifths, specifically the area I have highlighted here. You can notice at first glance a few things. First, the chords above here are all major chords, and the chords below are minor chords. So we have an F major, a C major, a G major, a D minor, an A minor, and an E minor. If you look to the left here, you'll notice that these are all the chords associated in your chord pattern for C major. Okay, so now that we've set that groundwork, let's talk about how we can use the circle of fifths to write music. The first technique I'm going to discuss is down here with these magic chord patterns. Remember, we have assigned a number for each chord in the scale. And if we look back at the circle of fifths, the important number we want to remember is the C here. It's the 1, or the tonic, they call it. You can identify other helpful things on the circle of fifths easily as well. For example, the C is the 1, and if you go to the left here, the F is the 4, and the G is the 5. Also, the A minor is the relative minor or the natural minor. Now, let's talk about these magic chord patterns. We discussed them earlier, but they are described as 1 to any, 2 to 5, 3 to 6, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, or 6 to 2. What does that mean? What that means is if we start with the C, which is the 1, the C major, we can go to any one of these other chords, and then this will help guide us through the rest of the song. So for example, let's say you want to go from the 1 to the 3. The 3 will naturally go to the 6. The 6 will go to the 2. The 2 will go to the 5. And the 5 will go back to the 1. Let's hear how that will sound on the guitar. Okay, let's put these magic chord patterns to use another time and see how it sounds on the guitar. This time let's go from 1 to 6. So let's use the chart below. We'll go from 1 to 6, from 6 to 2, from 2 to 5, and from 5 to 1. Let's hear how that sounds on guitar. The magic chord patterns work great, but by no means do not let those box you in. You can switch around to any chords within the quadrant that we were looking at here. The circle of fifths is also very helpful when you want to change keys in a song. When you want to change keys, you want to have as many notes as possible that are similar between the two keys, so the listener has a more user-friendly experience. So, for example, if you were composing your song in the scale of C, a helpful way to go up a step in your song would to utilize the scale of G. And then you could apply the same rules over here by substituting the G as your 1 instead of the C. Another way composers use the circle of fifths is to bounce around all over the place. There's absolutely no set of rules, but some songs are written by circling around on the circle of fifths. For example, a progression could be from F to C to G to D to A to E, and all of those chords would sound good together. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's a lot more out there on the circle of fifths, and this video only scrapes the surface of its power. And as always, in music there are absolutely no rules, so don't be afraid to break them and get creative. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments area, and I'll try my best to answer them.